Hello, welcome back. It's David again with Ag Economic Insights, joining you for a chart of the week. This is the chart from the vault, the archive, I guess. We were thinking about and we wrote about how big is the USDA's current acre yield estimates for corn and soybeans, and there's this paradox of them being considerably bigger than the previous record. But if you use a linear trend line and you look at departure from trend lines, we've actually had some quite a bit bigger yields throughout history. And so I'll link to that below. But the part here I want to talk about today is how much air there could be still left in the forecast estimates. And so there's about 23 years of data in this top chart. What we looked at here is the August, September, October, and November yield estimates. And we looked at final. And the idea here is to keep in mind is that there's still, the potential for a lot of uncertainty. You see a lot of years have, +4, -4 worth of adjustments. You see a few years even crossing the 5 line. So I guess in 3 or 4 years, it was 5 bushel or more under, and in a few years, it was 4 or 5 bushel over. Don't be surprised, I guess, if there's a 10 bushel adjustment from here. It's gone 10 bushels higher and it's gone 10 bushels lower. And I think one of the first things that comes to mind is, oh, maybe we're getting better over time. Well, this is all data since 2020, or excuse me, this is all data since 2020. So you can see that even in recent history, 4, 5, 6 years ago, we had a big revision that came late in the growing season. That gray bar kind of works its way throughout all of those years. As we get into September, those 10 bushel adjustments are still possible. October, we narrow it down to 5. And then in November, it's usually just a few bushels. If you look at soybeans, again, different scale here, but you can see there's still 4 to 5 bushel of adjustment possible. There's a table down here that I think is really interesting. The first one here is again in August, the absolute air. So we're not looking at pluses or minuses, we're just looking at the delta. So that average air is about 4 bushel this time of year, or about 2.7%. If you look down at soybeans, it's just almost 2 bushels of air on average, but it's a much higher percentage. And so there's still a lot more uncertainty on the soybeans. I like to mention and remind folks that there isn't all that much difference from the August air in soybeans than the May WASD or even just a straight up trend line. So we've taken out most of that yield or a big chunk of that yield in corn, but we're still hanging out with a lot of uncertainty on the soybean side. Soybeans really start to get into a much better situation in September, but especially October. Again, we also have September and October, big adjustments, big movements. Again, October really brings both of these below 2%. So we've moved that through. So again, just wrapping this up here, sharing a little bit around the uncertainty that still remains around the crops. This year could be higher, lower, or unchanged. But again, history can help us think about those ranges of outcome and help us think about what's an expectable way for us to anchor our expectations. That's all we have for this week. Until next time.